Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Raddick, and in a moment we'll be joined by City Manager Mark Roloff. In the first half of today's show, we'll have some municipal news updates, including information from city departments and news that residents can use. In the second half, we'll highlight items from the upcoming Tuesday, May 28th, Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. And with that, we bring in our City Manager, Mark Roloff. Mark, thanks for joining us today.
Great to be here, Andy.
All right, well, we'll dive right in. We have some information that was provided to us from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, and they plan on doing some rehab work on Interstate 41, and this will affect some folks who actually come into town from Highway 45.
Yeah, there's a lot of work they're doing. It just seems like yesterday that the bridge was redone, but obviously it has been a while. But it's the impact that we're really concerned about, because the day after Memorial Day, Tuesday, May 28th, through October 1st, you're going to see a lot of work on the causeway over Lake Butimore. So the real issue is that the I-41 southbound entrance ramp from US 45, so basically US 45 south to I-41 south, is going to be closed until July 31st. And both directions on I-41 are going to be reduced from 3 lanes to 2 lanes for replacement of these bridge approaches. So the only exception to this is that work will be suspended during EAA AirVenture, but the balance of that work is going to be pretty disruptive to traffic. So I think the one that we wanted to let folks know about is that construction work from US 45 to I-41, because they're directing people to continue on US 45 into town along Algoma Boulevard to Congress Avenue, and then you'll turn west to get back onto I-41. So people that would normally be taking that ramp and just going through the west side of Oshkosh are going to be going into the near west side, the near northwest side of Oshkosh. And so Congress Avenue could see some pretty heavy traffic during those primarily rush hour periods. And if you're wondering why, it's going to be because of that.
Right. And they are anticipating this wrapping up by October 1st, so it is quite a long duration for the work. But of course, more information can be found on the city's website. There's a link in the Hot Topics section with a link to the project website for the I-41 rehab construction, and folks can learn more there.
Yeah, don't want to blame the DOT, but this is a DOT project. The city has no role in it. We're really just wanting to let people know, because it's going to have impact on city roads.
Sure. And we're alluding to people connecting to Wisconsin Highway 21, and the Wisconsin DOT is also planning to do some work to upgrade Highway 21 between Oshkosh and Omro, and they've moved the schedule up for that. It was originally anticipated to be in 2027, and now 2026.
Yeah, so this will have an impact for both residents of Oshkosh as well as folks coming into Oshkosh. It's not going to be until 2026, but it is going to be moved up. So there's a variety of improvements that you see along here, but basically for Oshkosh people, the last two, 21 in Oakwood, we slotted left turn lanes, as well as at 21 and West Haven Drive. But you'll see there's going to be some roundabouts that as you get out into the town of Algoma in the town of Omro. So we're just letting you be aware of this, that this is coming to a construction season near you in a couple years. But the idea is that they had a meeting with us, talked about the impacts, and so we're just passing along this information.
Right. And really the goal of this is for some safety improvements through that entire section of the highway. So those are very much needed, and they plan on making those safety improvements. The project does have and also has a website link on the city's website, and that is located there. You can take a look and learn all of the details of what the planned work is, and find out some more details about the timeline. So that is available on Hot Topics through the city's website. Okay, then Mark, also we've been talking quite a bit recently about the notices of changed assessments that have been mailed out to city property owners, and I believe that the commercial notices of changed assessment will be sent the last week of May, but this process is continuing, and we just wanted to keep folks up to date.
Yeah, and certainly the commercial folks, once they start getting their notices, there'll be some questions as well. But there is a period, regardless of its residential or commercial, there's a period called the open book period, and it's now through June 14th, where property owners can meet with city staff if you've got questions about or do not agree with the assessed value. You can sit down with one of our assessor staff, and they can walk you through it, and you can provide some information that you believe may be more relevant, and certainly provide that, and we'll take a look at that. But I know there's still a lot of concern that people have about, well, this is going to impact my property tax bill. Well, maybe not, but just because your assessed value increases, it doesn't mean that your tax bill will increase by the same amount or the same percentage, because it's really relative to how your increase compares to everybody else's increase. So if the average, and we're estimating the average is going to be about 50%. If you're above that average, which for most residential it will be above that average, because the average commercial increase we're projecting to only be about 30%. I say only because when you compare it to 70%, there's quite a difference between those two. So I think the shift will be a little more towards the residential side, but it's not that because residential values go up 70%, that your tax bill is going up 70%. I've not seen that in my career. I've been doing this for 40 years, but I know that fear's out there, and we're going to try to do everything we can to assure people that that's not the case. So, there's other factors with your tax bill, of course. We send out the tax bill, but we send it out on behalf of the school district, which is a separate governmental entity. Winnebago County, another public entity that's separate from the city, as well as the technical college. So all of those factors come into play. So, and your individual property does play a role, and compared to commercial properties, the shift will be more towards residential, to be sure. So just hold tight, and we'll try to answer as many questions as you have. But if you're going there because if you want to go to see the assessor because you think your tax bill is going up, they're there just to look at the comparables that impact your property. So if you got questions or concerns, there's the number for the assessor's office, 236-5070, or the email address, and just let them know. And then we also have some stuff under Hot Topics, right, Andy?
Under Hot Topics on the city's website, just look for 2024 revaluation for Oshkosh properties, and you can find more information there with frequently asked questions. There's a video, and that contact information is there again as well, so you can learn more about this and find out what actions you can take if you are in disagreement with the assessed value that you have received. Okay, then also, Mark, another item that we've been talking about quite a bit for a little while is the vehicle registration fee, and that is in lieu of special assessments, or at least part of the replacement for special assessments that are pavement related. And folks will be beginning to see that registration fee, or wheel tax, as they say on the notice. They will begin to see that very soon. And I know that the city originally had some information that would be pertaining to July stickers, but actually it's a little bit different than that.
Well, the way the Department of Transportation, Department of Motor Vehicles interprets it, that your June sticker is not effective until July 1, because your June sticker is valid through June 30th. And so they told us it'll be effective July 1, and that's technically correct, but it's getting sent with the June stickers because your June sticker is valid through the 30th of June, and then your new sticker then isn't effective until July 1, which is why that's the case. Sorry for any misunderstanding. We certainly own some of that, but that's just the way that the Department of Transportation interprets it. So you're getting the notices, and it's got the extra $35, and then consequently future months will see that as well.
That's right. And again, there are frequently asked questions that are available on the city's website and Hot Topics. You can learn more details about that entire program right there and get additional questions answered. Okay, I know something else that we've been talking about for a little while is that our Public Works Department is encouraging folks to have their water service lines inspected. And I know that there are some requirements that are put forward to the city that we have to identify what those lines are, looking for lead service lines. And they have a new convenient way for folks to self-identify what types of service line that they might have.
Right. The federal government and the state both require our Department of Public Works to identify, and it says all lead water service lines in the city by this September. So I know there are some people who are just uncomfortable having somebody come into their house. So there's another way, and it's an online self-reporting tool for property owners to upload photos of their water meter and water service lines to the city. So what will happen is you can sign up to do this, and then you can just upload these photos, and our water utility staff will review those photos and respond with what materials the service lines are made of. So they'll let you know if it is lead or if it's not lead, and then advise you on any steps you may want to take. Right. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to replace them, but just be aware of the existence of them. And the education is really part of it. But if you want to use this online tool, then an appointment's no longer necessary to schedule somebody to come in. But if you still feel more comfortable with somebody, one of our professionals checking it out for you, we're still happy to do it, but we just want to offer another alternative. So whatever you prefer. So just check out the self-reporting tool at www.oshkoshwater.com, and you'll see this screen, and you can report your line yourself if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it a lot simpler, a little bit easier for folks, and if you prefer to not have someone visit your home, this is a great solution to still have your service line inspected. All right. We also had some good news here. We had a recent awards ceremony from the Oshkosh Police Department that they honored some employees and citizens that are doing exceptional things in our community.
This is a wonderful tradition that Chief Smith has introduced, that department employees and citizens are recognized for their performance that took place during the 2023 year. So the award ceremony also recognized many partnerships that the police department has, and we recognize some community business people and leaders for doing this. So the police department is so grateful for the community support for making this event possible. It's a wonderful way to recognize our officers and the great work that they do, as well as some folks who are good friends of the police department and good friends of the community who do some great things.
Absolutely. And we really support all of those organizations that help to make the event possible, and look forward to continuing this on an annual basis. Okay, then also we wanted to take a little visit to the Oshkosh Public Museum, and they are hosting a new contemporary Native American artist. And this is just part of all the different things they have going on over at the museum.
Ever since we put in the People of the Waters exhibit, our partnerships with the Native American community has really taken off, and they've been just incredible partners. We've learned so much about the Native American culture through that process, and then we've been able to share things that have been donated to the museum in the past that the tribes recognize were gifts to the museum. Anytime we need to work with them, we do that. And so now Kimberly Crowley is our 2024 featured contemporary Native American artist. She's a member of the Thunder Clan, member of the Ho-Chunk Nation. So we're wonderful historical ties to the Oshkosh area. She's been a traditional black ash basket maker for almost 40 years, and she drew inspiration from her mother and grandmother, and some of her basketry is on view in the living culture section of the People of the Waters exhibit. That's pretty much right after you walk in the front door, the first exhibit. So you get to see this stuff right away. And the selection of Miss Crowley's work will be available for purchase in the museum's museum store beginning later in May. So Kimberly Crowley is a wonderful artist, and we're happy to that she's chosen us to exhibit some of her work. So great partnership with the native tribes as well as the artists that add so much to our culture and our community.
We had a little bit of a chance to see some of her work there on the video, and encourage folks to make a trip over to the Public Museum and check it out for yourself. All right, then we also wanted to make note, exciting things were coming around to summer here, and one of those things is the Oshkosh Menominee Park Zoo is opening for this season, coming up on Saturday, May 25th, and this is a great place for families to visit.
Oh, it's terrific, and it'll be open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. With free admission, thanks to the Tom and Penny Herrenberg Foundation. And coming later this summer, can't say it's here yet, but a new black bear and fox exhibit that again, the Tom and Penny Herrenberg Foundation, large donors, it wouldn't happen without them. One of the features for the zoo is going to be Wildlife Wednesdays, some free educational series open to the public beginning on June 5th at 11 a.m. Just check out the Menominee Park and Zoo Facebook page for the details on the programs that are planned. And then just one other little thing just to make everybody still aware. Pratt Trail still closed for the time being. We're working on getting it done. But until then, there's parking right in front of the zoo entrance, but overflow parking is going to be available on Parkway Avenue. So it's a little bit of a walk, but until Pratt Trail's open, that'll be your overflow parking area.
All right. Well, always exciting to visit the zoo and see what they have new over there. There's something new every year. Okay, then maybe this is a little bit self-serving, but we also wanted to point out that make mention that Oshkosh Media recently received some Midwest awards, and this was for staff and volunteers. We received 9 total awards at the Wisconsin Community Media Fest, Best of the Midwest Media Fest in Eau Claire.
Yeah, we may be a little self-serving, so I'll do it because you guys have done all the work. We received an award for the 2023 Oshkosh 4th of July Parade, and then there were some community programs as well. Called the Place to Be Oshkosh and the Outpost. Those are produced by the Disabled American Veterans Local Chapter. And then now I'm going to be self-serving because one of the Excellence Awards, which is the top level, was for the work all you guys have done for the City Manager Minute. That's a series of short-form videos that gets posted on our social media outlets. So, Andy has the award there. That was handed out and everything. So we're very pleased and proud of that as well. City Manager Minute has become very popular because of the desire and interest in people just getting a little, short blip of information. And we've done a few really good things, but just trust me, everybody, it's these guys that are putting all the work together. All I'm doing is talking for a minute. The background of work they do to make this happen is really why this is an award winner. So congrats to Andy, Jake, Scott, and the Oshkosh Media folks for all the work they do. We are, clearly one of the best community media outlets in the state of Wisconsin, and the awards are just one way of demonstrating that. So, see, I did it all for you there.
Right. Well, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it, and we're always very flattered to be a recipient of these awards. We just wanted to make some notes for folks, some reminders about Memorial Day. There are some closures. There will be no garbage or recycling collection on May 27th, and collections will be one day later for the rest of the week. And then there are some other closures as well. The Oshkosh Public Library on May 26th and 27th. Oshkosh Public Museum, City Hall, the Yard Waste Drop-Off Center, those will all be closed on May 27th, and GO Transit buses will not be operating on that day. So we just wanted to make note of those things. All right, well, it's time for us to take a short break. Stay tuned and stay with us for some highlights for some upcoming Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda highlights. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig along with City Manager Mark Roloff. Let's turn our attention to the agenda items from the upcoming Tuesday, May 28th Oshkosh Common Council meeting. So, Mark, at the beginning of the meeting, there's a workshop, and Oshkosh Media will be televising it at 5 p.m., and this is on the Oshkosh Fire Department's Community Risk Assessment.
Yeah, this is a process that the fire department has gone through. They are not currently accredited, but part of the process to get accredited is to do this community risk assessment. And it takes a look at equipment, stations, the condition of the stations, and just the apparatus and just what we can do to best serve the community. So Chief Stanley and his staff will be there to explain the community risk assessment and what things we can do to improve the level of service. You know, we already have a great fire rating. We want to continue that, but there's other ways we can improve as well. And so council will hear about that on Tuesday.
Okay. All right. And then we also have two presentations, one of which is about downtown visualization. And this has to do with the action plan, I believe, that was talked about earlier.
Yeah, back in 2001, there was something called the Downtown Action Plan that was developed with many of our community partners. And a lot of those community partners are still here. The Chamber of Commerce, GoEDC, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Community Foundation, and there was a recommendation to basically revisit that study, and because most of the stuff had actually been implemented. So now what new things can we see? So there's some very ambitious projects, but it took us 20 years to do the first one. So the idea is to identify those things and then incorporate them into subsequent plans that we do. So we're just going to have a brief presentation, and then we'll talk about next steps. But this is the building blocks of where it gets incorporated into capital improvement plans and other plans as we go along.
Okay, very good. And then as we move into our consent agenda, there's an item, we're awarding a bid for cabinets and countertops, and this is at the Oshkosh Police Department in their evidence room. And I know that building was built in 1978, so it probably needs a few updates.
Yeah, our evidence room is definitely showing its age, and part of it is protecting the evidence and making sure that we secure it and process it efficiently. And right now, it's really showing its age, and there's some new standards to process equipment. So this is really just a bid award for about $27,000, but you can just see, the equipment, what it looks like and everything, but it's definitely a little beat up and showing its age, and this is just part of the process to get ourselves up to speed and make sure that we are nationally accredited. We want to make sure that we stay that way.
Right. All right, and then we also have several special events on the agenda, and just to highlight one, we just have the Oshkosh Farmers Market. It's not a fire market, it's a farmers market, and that is a very popular event in Oshkosh every Saturday morning throughout the summer, and that will begin on June 1st.
Yeah, and that's really just what this is all about. The routine of approving the special events, pretty easy, but the farmers market is widely viewed as one of the best farmers markets in the state, and it's a great place for the community to get together. And so we figured we'd take this opportunity just to remind everybody it's coming back on June 1st, and it runs through the end of October on Saturday. So we're excited that it's coming back and can't wait for summer.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, can't wait. It's around the corner. All right, then we have a pending ordinance, and we are taking a look at the City of Oshkosh Comprehensive Plan, and I know that the housing study contributed toward this element of this plan.
Yeah, at the last meeting we had a presentation from staff about the how we implement some of the housing study recommendations. And one of the tools is to take advantage of grant funds that are available. And the housing element to our comprehensive plan was not up to date to meet standards to be eligible for what's called the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Administration, or WHEDA, for their funding. So we were able to take so much of our housing study and reincorporate it into our comprehensive plan. There's a part of the plan called the housing element. So this perfect marriage that we can bring these together. But the idea is to make sure that we can be eligible for this funding, and it was probably needing a refresh anyway. But the housing market has changed a great deal since 2018, so we want to make sure that affordable housing is something that is absolutely addressed. And the housing study that we just had complete talked about that a lot. So it's updating it, making us ready for the challenges we have with housing coming up.
Okay, very good. Then also later in the agenda, we have an approval of an agreement of the sale of some land in the Northwest Industrial Park.
Yeah, this property, just to give everybody some point of reference, is near Vinland and in Fernau Avenue. So, and there's some property that a city purchased probably about 15 years ago, but it's generally this area in the yellow, just off of Vinland. It's just south of Fernau and north of the railroad tracks that go through that area. But a company called Linde Incorporated, they produce gases for industry. These are non-toxic gases, but in an industrial park, you can get some impacts, and noise is one of those impacts. So we're going to be meeting with neighbors to talk about the impact, because that's one of the requirements we have. But the idea is to sell it to them contingent upon them talking to the neighbors, explaining what their business is, and then go through the approval process on the planning and zoning side of things before the sale actually occurs. But council will be approving it at the meeting that's coming up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. And then we have one other item. This is direction to city manager on the 2024 property tax levy. And Mark, I don't remember seeing an item like this on an agenda before. Could you give us a little bit of background why this might be here?
Sure. Normally through our budget process, at mid-year, we give the council an idea of what we're looking at for the upcoming fiscal year. And then I seek some direction from council before I start reviewing budget requests from the departments. And that's normally about August when that happens. But what's been happening recently with the revaluation and a lot of people being concerned about what that might be. So I want to go back to things that we've talked about before. There's a formula for how the tax rate is set. And the valuation is part of that formula, and we are seeing a sizable increase in property values. But the rate itself, I think there's a fear that we won't change our property tax rate, and then the value, the revenue will just go through the roof. There's a couple factors in there that people need to be aware of. Number one, we are governed by the state's levy limit, so we can only increase our tax levy by a certain amount of money anyway, a certain percentage. And in the past 6-7 years, our average has been around 3 to 4%. So since that's been what we've done, even when we do all this analysis, I thought there might be some way to assure people that we're not going to be taking advantage of that ability to keep the rate the same, because number one, we can't, and number two, people are worried that we're going to increase the levy just drastically. So what I'm recommending to council is that they direct me to say, you will propose a budget with no more than 4%. Council can still tweak it and do things that they normally do, but give me that direction a little earlier, and then they can make a decision based on that. But I think council wants to give the public some assurances that they're not going to be taking advantage of this. Council controls the levy, and so this is one way for them to demonstrate that they want some fiscal control, and I'm happy to do that.
Sure. So it does relate somewhat to the reval information that we talked about earlier in the show.
It does, and this is our way of providing some assurance.
Okay, very good. Well, Mark, I think our time is up for today, and we really appreciate all your insights and information.
Always a pleasure, Andy.
All right, and thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you tuning in and learning more about your city. Again, that Oshkosh Common Council meeting is at 6 p.m. this Tuesday, May 28th at City Hall, 215 Church Avenue. You can watch that meeting live on GovTV, which is Spectrum Channel 10, UVerse Channel 99, and streaming on YouTube and OshkoshMedia.org. Or you can listen on the radio, Oshkosh FM 101.9, which is also online, and on the TuneIn Radio app for phones and tablets. So again, thanks for joining us. Join us again in 2 weeks for another City Managers Report.